Hey everyone, when you get into class and you open up your Mac, the first thing that I want you to do after you've gone into Google Classroom and you're started playing this is to click the plus sign. We're going to log into Content Keeper. You're going to go to www.lpsb.org. I'm not at school right now, so my login is not going to look the same as yours, but you're going to navigate to Staff Resources and then scroll over to Content Keeper. It will prompt you to log in with your login for your Dell computers, your username and password. You'll click continue or log in. Do not hit refresh or anything like that. Just simply exit out of those. And then you can come back to Google Classroom, refresh this tab so it knows now you're working with Content Keeper, and it'll let you upload and download everything you need to download. So we're going to go to the Rose assignment, and you're going to click on the file to download. This is normal. This is what you're going to see 9 times out of 10 when we do an assignment. You're going to go to the right, and you're going to, where it says these 3 little dots, it's going to say more actions. You're going to open in a new tab. And if you've logged into Content Keeper, it will say preview file. Do you want to download? Yes, we want to download. Download anyway? Yes. So your downloads are either going to be down here or up here. Since this is a PSD file, you can see the file extension name PSD. You need to know this. PSD means it is a Photoshop document. So once I clicked it, it opened up in Photoshop, and we are ready to work. A few things before you get started. I want you to make sure your toolbar is similar to mine. If it is not, I want you to go to Window and then go to Workspace. Make sure that Essentials is clicked. If it is and it still looks strange, click Reset Essentials. If you hold the tool down, you will see that you have more tools underneath one particular tool. So we use the lasso tool a good bit, and for this particular selection tool, you're going to want to have the quick selection tool selected. You don't want the object selection tool, you don't want the magic wand right now. We are working with quick selection. This is your move tool. This is your rectangular marquee. That is a selection tool also, but it selects like your whole image. To deselect, it's Command D. So make sure those are set to these particular tools. And you'll notice once you change the tools on the toolbar, this is your option bar. You have your selection up here, your plus, your minus, the size of your brush, which you are going to use very often. But we're missing one key element when we open Photoshop right now, and that is our layers. If you are ever looking for a panel, go to Window, and they're in alphabetical order. So I'm looking for layers. I'm going to click layers. And I'm actually, I like to pop mine out and stretch it out so I can see all the layers that I'm working with. You can see right here that this says task instructions, and it's grayed. It's because if you go down here and you see this folder, create a new group, I have grouped all these together. If you click this little down arrow, it will tuck all those back in. And if you want to, these eyes are visibility, and we'll use these often also. Especially when we start working with layer mask and you want to see how things look, you can turn layers on and off, and just by this click. If you want to lock a layer, it's right here. We will be working with blending modes, and these are blending modes from the layer panel. This is adjustments. If you hover over everything, it tells you what it is. Layer mask. This is a layer style or effects. And a new layer. And if you need to delete a layer, you would click and then click the trash can. So for this, the first thing we're going to do is we're going to be using the quick selection tool. So that is the paintbrush with the little dancing ants around it. And you can see my brush is very tiny right now. So I need to make sure that I'm on the correct selection, which is the first one or the plus. I am going to bump up my brush right now to about 154 pixels. So with the quick selection brush, it starts selecting similar attributes. And what that means is I just started on the red. So it is trying to figure out what I'm trying to select. And now it's noticing, okay, it needs all the red attributes. It'll get it pretty close. Sometimes it'll go outside of the area you want to select. But this is the selection that you want to see. I'm just going to show you, you can force it out. If that happens, come up here to your options bar, click the minus, and you're going to come in and you're going to click and drag and get your selection back together. Now if your selection is selecting the whole picture or it's doing really weird, strange things, look over and make sure that you have the layer selected that you're working on. So we're working on the rows, so that layer selected. We want to put the rows on a layer by itself and work on it non-destructively. Right now, if we were to alter anything, if we were to paint on this, use our eraser tool, that would be destructive editing, and that is actually taken away from the pixels. We want to work non-destructively, and that's when you make an adjustment, it's non-destructive. When you use a layer mask, it's non-destructive, or if you duplicate a layer or a selection. So you're going to do Command C because we're selecting our selection, and Command V. You will notice in your layer panel you have a new layer with a rosebud on it. To rename this, you're going to come where it says layer 3, double click on the font and type rose 1. So for the certification, this technically is one of the tasks that you are going to be completing. So stop, and then you're going to go to File, Save As, and then you're going to save as Rose 1, and you can save it as a PSD. You can save it on your desktop. Save. It's going to give you these prompts. Just put OK. You're going to upload all these to Google Classroom at the end. So this is what we're looking for, is if it has a rose and Rose 1 titled correctly. After you upload it to Google Classroom and you come back, so I'm on my Rose 1, I have it selected. If I move it, you'll see I have a duplicate of the rosebud. If I hold if I click and drag, and I can make this big or small, however I want. I can move it around. You can go to your move tool, which is your top tool up here on your toolbar, or you can hit Command T, which is transform, and that's how you resize things. So we are going to move into the adjustments part of this assignment. Just make sure you have paused this and uploaded Rose 1 before you move into this part. From here, we're going to make adjustments. So we have Rose 1 selected. If you navigate down here, earlier I was telling you about, you have your effects, you have your layer mask, your adjustments. You can group layers together, add a new layer, or delete a layer. Adjustments is what we're going to be using, and we are going to navigate to hue and saturation. So when we click this, this new layer pops up above this Rose 1. Now, this is in the instructions also. This little button right here, it's right here on your properties panel from your hue and saturation. You are going to want to click that every time. If not, I'm just going to show you as an example, because sometimes we do this for other projects, but 9 times out of 10, you are going to want to lock this down to this particular layer. So if I did not have it locked and I started adjusting, it's going to change the color of my whole picture, and that's not what we're wanting right now. Lock this down, change the color of Rose 1 to whatever you want it to be. Okay, and that's it. So you're going to go back to Rose 1 layer, Command C, Command V, Command C, Command V, Command C, Command V. You're going to make 6 roses. You can bring this one back down, lock it in to that first one. For layer order, if you don't know how to move layers, you're going to click and drag. Do you see the blue line in the middle? That's where it's telling me that one's going. Or I can go all the way to the top. If you want to move a layer that has an adjustment attached to it, click the layer and then shift click your, I just turned it off, I'm sorry. Shift click your adjustment, but shift click on the left side, not on the right side. And then you can move your adjustment layer up and down. Layer order is extremely important, and this will matter on your next project. So from this point, you have Rose 1 with your hue and saturation, clip and mask down to this rose. Double click this one, and you're going to rename that one Rose 2. And then you're going to keep going. Rose 3, Rose 4, Rose 5, and Rose 6. So we're going to come to Rose 2. We're going to do the same thing, because doing it over and over will help you remember how to do adjustments. We'll play with all these different adjustments later, but for right now, we're just going to do hue and saturation. We're going to lock this clipping mask adjustment down to Rose 2, and we're going to make it an alternate color. But you'll notice you cannot see Rose 2 right now. So if you click on Rose 2, that was Rose 6, sorry, and hit Command T, then it will show you the rose that you're working on. So the reason why I was saying layer order is important is because Rose 2 is underneath 6, 5, 4, and 3. Okay, so it's behind those layers. So you will have to navigate moving layers up and down when you're working on projects to make your design come out correctly. So you're going to go now to Rose 3. You're going to click your adjustment, hue and saturation, navigate back down to this box, which is in the directions. It's right here. It looks just like this. We're arrowing down to rows 3. We're going to change the colors. We can't see it, so I'm going to click rows 3. Command T for transform. And I'm going to move it out the way so I can see what color it's changing to. I'm going to click back onto my hue and saturation layer and change the color because I want them all different. Rows 4. Click my adjustments, click hue and saturation. You're going to lock that clipping mask down to rows 4 and then start altering it. It's still behind 5 and 6, so we can't see it. Click on rows 4. Command T for transform. We're going to move it down here. I'm going to click up 1 to my adjustment layer and continue to change the color. We'll do the purple. Rows 5. Same thing. Hue and saturation. Adjustment, hue and saturation. We're going to lock it down. You can start changing the color. Now we're getting to the top of our layers. So we're starting to see our flowers change because rows 5 is at the top. I also want you to note that you can play with the saturation. Also, you can make it oversaturated and the lightness and darkness, which can change it from complete black to white. But this is how a lot in photo editing that we do that. So let's try to do. I'm gonna do a good yellow. Alright, and I'm going to move that one out the way. Then we're going to go to row 6. And all of these colors can be altered after, and I'll show you how after we finish getting every rose a hue and saturation layer, adjustment layer, and make sure that it's arrowed down to that particular layer. So this is how your layer panel should look. Rows 1, hue and saturation, arrow down. Rows 2, hue and saturation, arrow down. Rows 3. I'm going to come back to row 6 and we'll do this one. And I'll come over and move it. It's already got a bounding box. And what you want to do is make sure that you have covered the whole entirety of your artboard. Okay. Say you want rows 4 to be in front of everything. You would select rows 4, then shift click to make sure you get your adjustment layer. Also move it all the way to the top. You could put that one in the middle. You don't have to do this. This is just different options. This hue and saturation is very similar to this rose, so I want to alter it. So I'm going to click my hue and saturation, my adjustment layer, this part, and then change it with my slider right here because I want them all different. I'm going to make this one bigger, and then rows 2 we can make bigger. And as you click on the layers, the bounding box will show up so you can resize it and move it at the same time. We just did 5. And remember that I did, I moved 4 up here. So now I have my whole artboard filled with roses. If I if you can't do anything, if it's not letting you go to the next step, look up here, make sure if there's a cancel or check, hit the check mark. If there's something that you've did that you want to undo, Command Z it. Okay? Or you can go to edit and undo, or right now I'm going to select redo, so you'll see how that looks. From once you get your roses how you want them situated, I want you to go to File, Save As, Rose, and then put Adjustments, and save it to your desktop. And you're also going to upload this to the same prompt. Save and OK. So now hopefully you understand the what it means to have layer order. If you use the eye over here, this layer visibility, you can turn them on and off. So that will quickly tell you which layer you're working on, or if you're looking for a layer, turn them on and off so you can see or quickly find which one you want to alter.